want you to review the coaches whose teams didn't make the 8 this year. Rate them on a scale of 1 to 10. Let's kick it off with the 16th place Bulldogs and Trent Barrett.
I'm saying a 6. At times they really competed tough. They just.
If they didn't win that last game, they might have got a 5.
Yeah, I think they finished off the season really well with being competitive and especially winning that game the way they did against the Tigers. I think he did his best with limited quality players, Badge, and
they were competitive.
And injury.
Stats.
Yeah, injury and suspension to Luke Thompson hurt them for a period. So I think it's best to gauge Trent's coaching through 2022. But
I didn't see them wave the white flag too often and get absolutely smashed by. They were out there having a go, but just outplayed, out. You know, just a bit more quality in the opposition most of the time, and I like to see their final. It was great, that final round win for them against the Tigers.
Would you give him a 6? Did you say that?
I'll give him a 6.
Yeah, it was 6.
Yeah.
Okay,
too.
Toddy Payton, Cowboys.
I got Toddy out of 5. It wasn't a good season at all for the Cowboys. Coming second last. I think they thought they were going to be much better than that, and their expectation was to make the finals. That was a really poor season, and of course the coach has to be the rating of the coach has to be reflected in that. So I got him down for a 5.
Yeah, Michael Morgan retired, which really hurt. A lot of the team was going to be revolved around Michael Morgan. Very young team. The other thing about, and this I say this with a heavy heart because I regard Toddy Payton as a very close friend. Great personality, highly articulate, and I know for a fact he's a very good coach. I know how funny he is and how relaxed he can be. He's a really outgoing guy, but I don't see that in the media from Toddy. I see a really serious and at times a really nervous coach, and I just want him to relax. I want people to see what his actual true personality is because I don't think we're seeing that.
Well, they might when they start winning game sets.
Well, Kevy,
you go on a run of winning some games, and then I think your side might. That side might come out, but they never really had a good run.
Sometimes a change in that mindset and that paradigm internally brings on some of those better performances. And the next person we're going to talk about is Kevy, who come 14th, is probably a really good example because he really took ownership and came out publicly and said, I lost my personality at the start of the year and it bled through the playing group. We weren't playing that way, but then he relaxes a little bit and the results start coming at the back end of the season, Badge.
Yeah, I had him at a 6. So I might be, a bit more generous, give him a little bit more. But they hung him out. Well, didn't hang him out to dry. They were moves were afoot. Finally, they got Dave Donachie and Ben Eichen on board, and you could see the weight of the workload, everything else lifted off Kevy's shoulders. He could just get into coaching, and there was talk at times about him losing his job just in his first year in. Thankfully, they started to come good at the end of the season and looked like they a bit more promising for next year. But I don't think I could go much above a 6. Kevy's got a lot better coaching in him than that.
13th, which was the West Tigers and Madge, and people know I'm a fan of Madge's, but I'm going to give him a 7, and the reason why, there's a soft underbelly at the club, and he does his best to produce a real tough mentality, but at times, sometimes he's flogging a dead horse. I think what I like about his coaching, he stands for what he believes in, and he won't sway, which might be his downfall in the end. But I thought it was courageous of him to open up the doors for the Docker, and I believe he had to be convinced to do that. When your team's not a top 4 side. So
I don't think that was his idea at all.
No, it wasn't. But, he in the end, he had to let it in, and you leave yourself vulnerable. So, you know what, I think he hasn't changed his convictions and what his coaching philosophies are, which I think is brave.
Their last 3 games, smashed by the Sharks and beaten by the Panthers and then hammered by the Bulldogs. That was just... Yeah, that wasn't a good finish and doesn't sit well on his resume, Madge. But I'm glad he survived for the moment, anyway.
All right, Brownie at the Warriors, mate. We've got to fly through these.
I'm giving him an 8. It's his first year in coaching, second year away.
7.
His second year away from home and hard role. I think he's learned a lot about coaching this year. Well, like a lot of coaches have. So,
he's coached before. He's coached at the Dragons and he went overseas.
But you learn more when you have to take a team out of their natural environment and have to.
Righto.
You sort of have to manage the emotional toll as well as a coach.
Badge, what'd you give Anthony
Griffin? I've got him down for a 5. And you got to look at what the side did as well. They just finished so poorly. That wasn't the coach's fault, and maybe I'm being harsh. and probably should give him a bit more. Sats, I wouldn't be surprised if you gave him more than that. But for that group to do what they did with the barbecue and then fall in a big hole, and he wasn't able to get them composed and to get a win at the end, a few wins at the end of the year.
Yeah,
So
I thought selections he persisted with
5.
people and left people out at times, which is disappointing. Ricky finished 10th. Badger, I had him about a 6th. You know, he had chance to clock stat out. He lost George Williams. Did his best with the players that he had. I think what he did do is he developed a couple of really good players like Tommy Starling.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't a happy squad, it seemed, throughout the year. Well, and Ricky know more about that than us, but there just seemed to be rumblings all year. Jack Whiten didn't play great footy. They just never really clicked into gear, did they? So I'll go with you on that one, Sats.
Yeah, and the last one, Josh Hannay, Sharks. I gave him a 9.
A 9?
Yep.
Wow.
Gee, I
Outstanding.
thought I was generous with an 8.
Outstanding stepping in for Johnny Morris. I thought he's got, well, we know he's got a great relationship with the players. I thought he took an ageing forward pack and some injuries to real key players, high-profile players, to just finish outside of the finals. I thought he did an amazing job, Josh Hannay, for what he had in front of him after
That's right.
Johnny Morris left.
That's right. After they pushed him aside, and he always knew he was just a coach in waiting. But I thought he did a great job too, Josh Hannay. He'll get another gig somewhere.